This is Onscene. I'm your host, Thom Honeybone. Outside Moon Bar right now for a chill, wee dubstep night. DNG006 is a chill kind of family vibe. We're hearing music from the likes of Akimbo Chawal,
Birkenstock,
Forward Stance,
Airy,
Little John, yeah, and that's the last one, Little John. We have
Third Eye Hi-Fi.
their big ass speaker stack is sitting right on stage with the DJs relegated to a position on the side. Stay tuned. Yo, we're back outside Moon Bar. I'm here with Dusty, aka Lucas, aka one half of Forward Stance.
That's the one.
And so I'm quite familiar with your alias Dusty, but this is a new thing, Forward Stance. So I'm curious about what's the backstory with that. How's it come together?
Oh, absolutely. So my partner, She-Boy, both of us DJ independently, but we figured we'd been jamming a lot together, thought we could put a project together, managed to do a Keep Hush, which was awesome. So we did a set together for that. And yeah, it's just about culminating our values together, tunes, reggae, dub techno, a lot of like focus on the lower end of sound system dance culture, stuff that you play at the start of the night. Yeah, so we edge away from the dubstep, which we're all used to, and we tend to go for soulful selections, stuff like that. So yeah, it was just a motive for us to play the stuff that we don't usually get to play, which is really, really awesome. And it's kind of cute that we get to do it together, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm curious, where does the name come from? Because Forward Stance, I don't know. When I first saw it, it kind of, I don't know. It seems like a hardcore band. It's like
It does kind of.
That's kind of the vibe I got. But where did it come from?
Honestly, I think there were a few like random name generator prompts that came up because we're like, look, we got to call ourselves something if we're playing together. I think Forward Stance kind of came out of maybe like a physical representation of the sound. Like a forward stance is a martial arts kind of term.
Yeah.
And I think we do stance out when we're jamming. We've got an aura, something of a physical kind of vibe going on. And so yeah, the forward also comes back to sound system territory. Forward, FWD, forward thinking. So stuff like that really comes into play, but honestly, not too much meaning apart from that.
I fuck with it. And so you're a founding member of DNG, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought I'd ask, what is your idea of what DNG is all about? What's the philosophy for you?
Yeah, honestly, we just saw a lot of gigs that were charging pretty high ticket prices, big lights, big show, big chutzpah, but we just like a dark room with low capacity, big sound. I don't know, everything that's endemic to sound system culture was missing from the shows that we were going to. So we just thought, look, how cheap can we make it? Is it accessible? Do we need to bother with all the extra fancy features? Not really. People just want a sound system. They just want good selectors. They don't actually care if there's like 10 different strobes and, 5 different international acts. They just want to come and have a good time. So DNG was really about bringing it into the local, keeping it super chill. I don't know, some of the earliest gigs we had, it was 50-person capacities, Everyone you'd see, you knew.
Yeah.
And that was really beautiful. It was like a house party, And we try and capture that element. So anything simple is what DNG stands for, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It's the essentials done to perfection. Is definitely the vibe I've got tonight.
Yeah,
Totally. And now, my last question. I've been given a secret prompt from Holly to ask you about. They asked me to ask you about drinking Marla's whiskey.
Oh God, yeah. So,
What's that all?
forward stance, Izzy and I, She-Boy and Dusty, we got booked to play for Marla, which was awesome, down at Loon's Bar in Christchurch.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Beautiful night, really packed in. We were very nervous. I managed to chat with Marla a little bit in the green room before his set. Turns out he doesn't drink anymore, which is totally cool, good for him. But the backline, the rider, still had all his alcohol preferences out there. So a few bottles of very expensive whiskey were sitting dormant for the rest of the night. And I got to that point where I just said, look, no one's going to drink this but me. So cue me, Marla's playing, I'm running into the back line, pouring up glasses, bringing it back into the crowd, and kind of just feeding the homies who couldn't afford the drinks. Marla never knew, thank God. But I think the promoters were like, why is that guy going into the green room like every 5 minutes? And yeah, I got pretty sloshed. I don't usually, but it's Marla. You got to get sloshed. Yeah.
That's a crazy story. Thank you very much for talking to us, Lucas.
Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate Yo, we're back outside Moon Bar with Chris, one of the founding members of Third Eye Hi-Fi, providing the sounds for tonight. Sounds wicked. We were just talking about the origins of Third Eye Hi-Fi. I thought you could talk to us a little bit about that wee story.
Yeah. So I just moved over to New Zealand from the UK. Went out to a gig at the Grand, and yeah, it was like a PA. Sound was real poor, and it was an artist I really wanted to see, so I was a bit disappointed. I was out in the smoking area, and two lads walked out, and they were like saying the same thing. So collared them, and we just got chatting, and we were like, yeah, Wellington really needs another sound system. Like, we'd love to do a sound system that's a bit more multi-genre, like doesn't just focus on this or that, like kind of brings in elements of all the history of sound system culture to it. And yeah, we met up for a beer the next day, and that was 5 years ago, and yeah, we moved in together about 3 months later, and then built the rig, and yeah, been going ever since. So yeah.
Awesome. Now, you mentioned the UK, and so were you quite involved with the rave culture over there at all?
Yeah. So me and my friend Rob used to own a sound system called Militia, and yeah, we used to take that to parties in the UK, and used to run like drum and bass nights in Portsmouth, where we were from. So we started quite young, like started that when we were like sort of 19, 20, and then yeah, went to about 24, and then we kind of both went our different ways as that happened, sort of thing, and yeah, then ended up moving over here. So yeah.
So you've been interested in sound system culture for a very long time. What is your technical background that you bring to Third Eye?
Yeah, so I'm like, by trade, I'm a design engineer. So I use a lot of like CAD systems and stuff. So I do a lot of CAD drawings, mainly for like mechanical, but that's all transferable into like CAD work for speakers as well. So yeah, I kind of, before we built Third Eye, I didn't know a lot about sound system design or speaker design. Then yeah, joined the Paraflex group, which is like an open source community online. Yeah, and then just like taught myself how to do it, and trial and error, and kept cranking through, and yeah, got to where we got to now. So
you mentioned Paraflex. That's when the speakers, is that when the speakers face in a kind of weird direction? Because I notice all the kicks are like facing all in crazy directions. Is that what?
Yeah, that's it. So it's a special type of, well, not special, it's another type of speaker design basically. It's like compound horn with a combined resonator. It's probably the best way to describe it. But yeah, it's they kind of started popping up from the group maybe sort of 5-6 years ago, and it was really, I saw it and it was really interesting for me because I hadn't seen them before, so we kind of trial built them, and I helped sort of design the kick bins, or I helped do the drawings for the kick bins, and they're all open source, so you can like get them online, you can get a full pack of plans, build them in your garage, and it's been really cool because we've seen them like propagate throughout the world. So yeah, it was not just me, it's like a effort of like, you know, loads of people in the group from all over the world, all with different skill sets that do different parts of the box design. So yeah, it's pretty cool group, and yeah, good to be involved with it.
A thing I always hear when I talk to people about sound system culture, it's always mentioning Christchurch. You know, Christchurch is always talked about as like kind of the capital, I guess, for New Zealand.
Yeah.
But I feel like there are heaps of great sound systems in Wellington. Why is it you think people more skew towards Christchurch when they're talking about it?
It's a good question. Like, I reckon it's probably just the culture around it in Christchurch, and like that they've got the spaces to do bigger parties with bigger sounds, I'd say. Yeah, like there is sound system culture here. Like we've been going for 5 years. There's been other rigs which have been going for much longer than us as well. There's loads of active rigs in Wellington, all doing their thing, you know, all doing different styles. So, and yeah, it's good. It's a good scene. But yeah, I think for us, it's like the venue options we have, you can't go full tilt. And I think a big element of sound system is like the pressure and the feeling and the space. But yeah, I don't know if that's the only reason, but that might be one of the reasons, yeah.
What do you think is a solution for that then? Do you think there needs to be like a big club, or do you think we can find other spaces?
Yeah, I reckon we could find some more spaces. I reckon it's on the cards. Yeah, we just finished off like 8th sub now, which was like, so it's taken us the 5 years to kind of get the funds to build it all, and you know, it's not a cheap exercise, like, so yeah, through doing the gigs we funded building more of the rig. So yeah, we kind of got the rig to a stage now where it's finished. It's never be finished, but box numbers I think are finished. Yeah, and kind of feels like it's the right sort of time to take it outside and do a big old knees up with it. So
bush stuff.
Yeah, big old bush stuff. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for talking. Wise words. Yo, we're back outside Moomba with Akimbo Chawa. Is that right pronunciation? Dope. Which is comprised of Holly and Cam, who both had their own respected solo acts. Commander Cambo and Sano. Right, yes, perfect. Now, I thought to start off, we'd just talk a little bit about your origins, maybe how you've come to be together with DNG. What's the story with that? Give us the lore.
I think I should maybe be the one to answer that. Yeah, DNG started because I was working in a barbershop on Cuba Street. I'm not sure if you remember Cuba Barbers when it was like further up. So I was working downstairs there, and we opened up a bar in the shop for some reason. And the old upstairs was Mighty Mighty. Well, what used to be Mighty Mighty. And so we had this empty space upstairs that wasn't really getting used. And so we just asked the bar manager if we could throw a night on there, just on the off chance. And he was like, yeah, go for it. And so we kind of had literally 2 weeks to come up with a name. And it was me, Lucas, and Caitlin who, so myself, Birkenthal, and Dusty who formed DNG. and we had like 2 weeks to come up with a name. We landed on DNG. I can't disclose what it means. I hope it hasn't been disclosed already.
It might have, but it was disclosed on camera, but we've been told we have to bleep it out. Because it must remain a secret. It's very important name. That means a lot.
It was literally just we had a space to use, we had friends with sound systems, and there was a hole in the market. At that point in Wellington, there wasn't much of like what we were into happening. There was like obviously the one night Section 9, which is like I think like where we all
time.
It's like the number one night, and it's like I don't know what I've drawn most of my inspiration from throughout my DJ career from that night. But yeah, kind of aside from that, there wasn't much happening, and there wasn't like I don't know, like a space for us to kind of get our feet in the scene. So
it definitely wasn't like a big sound system, small venue type event, which is like what we're all about.
Yeah, exactly.
And the barbershop was perfect for that.
Yeah. So the motivation was more dubstep and more sound system.
No, literally. Like,
easy,
No, like, I mean, DNG at its core is like a really simple idea where it's a massive sound system in a tiny room with like nothing else really. Like, we don't have shit. like lights. Like, if you've been inside there, there's no lights on. It's just like a sound. Yeah, exactly. Like,
we always keep it dark.
Yeah. It's all about the sound. Yeah.
You guys have moved down to Christchurch. There's been a big migration with the DNG crew, from what I've heard. And what kind of gigs have you been throwing in Christchurch? What do you think is different about gigs in Christchurch than to Welly?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really come as a shock that there were a lot of dubstep shows down there. But yeah, I mean, we've put on a couple DNGs down there. But yeah, lots of really good reggae dances down there, which is like, I think, one of the mainstays of Christchurch, and there's been a long lineage of great reggae sounds down there, and something I find really attractive about living in the place, like you can't beat a reggae dance, like you can't help yourself but to have a skank, you know.
And the amount of sound systems in that city is out the gate. Like there's like no shortage whatsoever.
I can't count the amount of sound systems down there on two hands. So
like there's more than one hand in Littleton alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's like a town of like 3,500 people, and there's like more than 5 sound systems.
Yo, we're here outside DNG. I'm here with Erie, aka Barnaby. Barney.
Yeah.
Just Barney. Not Barnabas, not Barnaby. No. Just Barney. How are you feeling tonight, Barney?
I'm feeling good. I've never been filmed on a camera talking about things before. I'm normally doing it on a radio. So this feels pretty funny, but I'm excited. It's cool. And the gig is going cool. It's nice. It's just a classic DNG.
What radio show are you a part of?
I just stopped, but I was doing the Green Room in Christchurch.
Is that RDU?
Yeah, RDU. And then before that in Wellington, I was like occasionally going on home base with Lucas, who's Dusty.
Is that where you met Lucas?
No.
Or did you know him?
I've known Lucas for ages. Years. Yeah, quite a few years, yeah. I met Lucas through a friend who moved from Christchurch. A lot of my friends moved from Christchurch. A friend of mine moved from Christchurch, and we were into trap music, and I was like just kind of a person who was into trap music, and then Lucas was like, have you listened to dubstep before? And I was like, no, I haven't. And so we started listening to dubstep together. Lucas was kind of one of the people who really gave me a USB full of tunes. I've known all the people that we're doing DNG with for like a very long time. Like we've been partying together. There was like a very specific flat that we used to party at called the Bakery. It had a sound system in the basement. It was 4 stories, and we'd party there all weekend. And that's where I met people like Holly and Caitlin, who are Sano and Birkenthot. And we'd party there together. And Lucas wasn't really coming to those, but I was still friends with Lucas at the time. And then I introduced Holly to Lucas. I should be using artist names. It's probably confusing for people. I introduced Sano to Dusty, and they have a really cool, really close, like collaborative relationship, which is so dope to see. But yeah, I was friends with those two independently before they really knew each other. And what else? And then met Izzy through Lucas, and other people involved in the crew. Eva also met through the Bakery. I forget. I'm even forgetting who's in the crew because I'm so forgetful. But DNG was just like we were all like. My friend Holly was working at a barbershop in town when Cuba Barbers was in this weird single lot building on Cuba Street, across the road from some dairy and up the road from the Salvation Army. And we were just like, Holly was just like, we've got this place that we can throw gigs. So we were like, okay, yeah, let's throw a gig, and we don't know what to call it. So we were like, let's call it DNG and put it in the same font as DMZ, which is Digital Mystics, which is Mala and Koki and Lofa. Yeah.
So what does DNG stand for?
It stands for a lot of things, but it mostly stands for, yeah.
Nice.
I'm not even joking.
That's awesome. Last question. Now, since you've moved from Wellington to Christchurch, I'm curious, what do you see are some key distinctions between these two scenes? What is the transition like playing at a Galaxy bar in Christchurch versus a Moon bar in Wellington?
I think everyone has their own interpretation of the differences. Honestly, I don't think it's that different. I think that Christchurch has had sound systems for far longer than Wellington has had sound systems. So in that sense, there's like a really entrenched sound system culture. I honestly don't know enough about the Christchurch scene to talk about it with confidence. But what I do know is that in the current day, Wellington has a really strong sound system scene that I'd say only loses to Christchurch in the fact that we don't throw bush diffs.
Yes.
Like we as a city have only really dipped our toes into going out into the beautiful scenery that we have around our city and throwing parties. Like you've seen Tani Fuzz Den, and that ended up becoming a really big thing. And I think that that's something that Wellington should really try to do. And you see things like the Further Crew, they go and throw parties out at Moore Point, which is really awesome. Those are more like daytime things. And obviously, like Third Eye takes the rig down every year for Twisted, and Tubbs Audio is based here as well. Yeah, I think it's interesting because for what Christchurch has in a sound system culture, I feel like Wellington had for a really long time a like broader embrace in the whole city in terms of how like parties were almost like the pride, not pride and joy. I mean, obviously, no city is perfect, and they're not going to embrace it entirely.
Yeah.
But like you see things like Cuba Duper and Newtown Festival, which you do not see in Christchurch.
Yeah.
Like you do not see a council sanctioned event where you can go and listen to dance music and sound systems. I'd mostly just say that like I think Christchurch were far more driven to just like really push things, and there was almost more pushback, so they were pushing it even harder.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then there was the earthquake, and that was probably a really big thing for the scene down there, even though they had drum and bass before all of that. But like for the scene down there, I'm sure that having a lot of space where no one is living was a really, and also a lot of people who have nothing to do, was a really big thing for them.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's a cool point. I've never really thought about that the pushback in Christchurch, because I mean there's all the sound regulations in the city, and even if you are going to a regular like sanctioned electronic gig at like Flux or Galaxy Bar and stuff, everything closes at 1. It's not like Wellington where there's just this big strip and stuff just keeps going on and on, so people have to stray out of the city and dip their toes in the bush.
Yeah, but it is interesting. We do get like places like this, we get kind of punished and we have to close at 2 a.m. It's almost like the venues that you really want to throw gigs at don't get the same leniency that venues that are arguably full of seriously debaucherous and fucked up behavior get to have. And it's like, it's really harrowing, because I think that if we got a bit more, I don't know what like the word is, if we just had a bit more like faith put into events that like me, my friends, lots of people I know like to throw, I feel like there'd be a really healthy scene in Wellington.
Yeah.
And honestly, just in the rest of New Zealand.
From talking to people in your circle, it seems like a lot of your gigs, especially the Section 9 guys, talk about well-being and like making sure it's a safe environment being a key like part of the experience. And I think that's awesome. I mean,
there's a lot to also be said about that. I'd say that especially like Section 9 is awesome for it. Their dances were so lovely when they were being run, and it was a really nice environment. And I'd say that for us as DNG and all the people that I party with, and especially the people who I was partying with at Twisted, because I've been going to that for about 6 years now, it was a lot of like, we're all queer and we're around queer people, and we take a lot of value in that. And we have like the house parties we were having, it was a really big thing to make sure that we all felt really comfortable to be ourselves, because that was almost like the space that we created to party. And it was like we spent a lot of time creating these trying to create really comfortable house parties for a lot of our friends and a lot of ourselves. And yeah, I think that really bled into how we throw club nights. And for like a lot of the crews around that you're seeing pop up, I'd say like great examples like Sigil, like we were partying with those guys ages ago, and it's the same ethos. Like we've all been really trying to create a safe space for each other and for people who are growing up, because we were all having to go to places like Dakota and Red Square and other places who it could be more controversial to like name. And some of those places, it's just like, it's really sad that those were the first places that we had to go party. It's a real bummer. Even though there were also lots of I'd say there's lots of really good parties that happened before what we were doing that also set the scene for that. Surface are the ones, really good parties. But it's just a lot of things that people go to as a first experience, I think, can sometimes really kill it for people, and it's a real bummer. So
Shady lady.
Making sure that doesn't fucking happen is really important.
Well, thank you very much for talking.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate the knowledge.